Hi everybody, this is Jason and I am here to do the Movie Madness tag. I was tagged today by Vintage Chic 1927 and she did this really awesome tag about movies, so I'm really excited to do it. Actually watching her video, I was just struck by her huge movie collection. Her DVD collection was enormous, so I definitely do not have that type of collection, but it just made me realize how small my DVD collection actually is. But I do love movies, although my taste tends to run towards the offbeat and quirky, so some of you might find my choices a little odd, or maybe you've never heard of them. And some of them everybody's heard of. So anyways, hopefully it's not too boring, and hopefully I'm not too long-winded, but I have a feeling this is going to be a long video only because there are a lot of questions. So I'm going to just jump right into it. The first question was, who is your favorite actor? Now, I'm not huge on, I just don't have like a list of people I love. I mean, I really base stuff on performance in whatever I'm watching at that time. But, you know, there are pretty consistently good actors and actresses, but I guess I just don't have a huge number of favorites. So I really had to think about this, especially the actor one. And I came up with Tom Hanks, and I know that's kind of a stock answer, but he's really a pretty versatile actor, and he's been around for a long time, and he's made some really great movies. So I went with Tom Hanks, but that's definitely not to say that I just love Tom Hanks and I have to go out and see anything he does. That's really not the case, but I had to pick somebody, and so I went with Tom Hanks. So I know that was kind of a lukewarm favorite actor. Favorite actress, this is a little more firm. I really like Julianne Moore. From the very first time, well, I don't know that it was the first time I saw her, but it was definitely the first time I really took notice of her, and I was just blown away by her performance in Boogie Nights. And I just fell in love with her. I just thought she was amazing. She gave a very powerful performance in that, and then in almost everything else I've seen her in, she's just an amazing actress, and just a really great actress. So I really like her. Honorable mention, Meryl Streep. Of course, she's amazing as well. Favorite director. I really had to think about this one too. I like several directors. I'm a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock. I like several of Martin Scorsese's movies. So even Spike Lee, Steven Spielberg. But I went with Robert Altman. Robert Altman directed Nashville. He directed MASH. He directed Shortcuts, which I will talk about later on in the in the video. But anyways, he's kind of a quirky director in that his films are really usually have a big sprawling cast, and it's the stories are kind of there's usually several different stories and threads going on in his movies, and they're kind of interconnected through a major theme. So I just really like his style of movie making. You can tell when you're watching a Robert Altman film. Usually you can really tell that it is a Robert Altman film. He just has a style all his own, and I just really love how he uses actors. So that brings me to the next question, which is favorite independent movie, and I chose Shortcuts, which is directed by Robert Altman. This is Shortcuts. This is the Criterion Collection. So this, if you can ever get your hands on this DVD, it's a very nice DVD. But it's got the movie, and the movie is really, really long, and it's got a lot of people. Like I said, it's got a bunch of different stories going on. It's based on the short stories of Raymond Carver, who I also recommend. And the DVD actually includes a book of Raymond Carver's short stories that the movie is based on. And then, of course, you have the movie. And I want to say this is a 2-disc collection, so there's a lot going on in here, but there's a lot of actors in it. Just to name a few: Andy McDowell, Bruce Davison, Julianne Moore, Matthew Modine, Fred Ward, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Chris Penn, Lily Taylor, Lily Tomlin, Robert Downey Jr., Tim Robbins, Tom Waits, Frances McDormand, Peter Gallagher. There's just a huge Jack Lemmon. So there's tons and tons of people. Huey Lewis is in this movie. So it's an amazing movie. It's quirky and weird, and it's definitely a drama, and it's just about the denizens of LA in the early 1990s and just their kind of slice of life stories that's all going on I think one day. I haven't seen the movie in a while, but anyways, I really, really highly recommend the movie. See there, I'm already starting to get on my tangents. The next question is favorite Julia Roberts movie. I'm not a huge fan of Julia Roberts. I don't dislike her, but she's not one of my favorites, so I really had to think of actually I take that back. I didn't have to think of this because I chose Still Magnolias, and one might not say it's a Julia Roberts movie. It is an ensemble movie, so she does not just carry the movie by herself, but I love Still Magnolias. It's kind of I want to say it's guilty pleasure, but it's not what I chose for my guilty pleasure pick. It's just a really kind of sappy, but it's funny too, and it's just got a lot of funny dialogue and a lot of good performances from some really good actresses. So that's what I chose. Favorite Tom Hanks movie? I had to go with Forrest Gump. It's just an all-time American classic. It's just a feel-good, heartwarming American story, and I just really, really like it. I'm a sucker for movies that have big casts and a lot of stuff going on. So I like character-driven stuff, so that one was right up my alley in that way too. Then favorite comedy. This one was hard, but I went with Little Miss Sunshine. I really, really like this movie. Some might describe it as a comedy drama, but to me, and it is, there are some dramatic parts, but the comedy in it is just uproariously funny to me. So I really like this movie. Again, it's quirky, it's kind of character driven. I do have a thing for dysfunctional families, and so this definitely has that going for it. So it's just a really, really funny movie revolving around a family that is trying to get their little girl to a pageant, like one of those child pageants that are really, really creepy. But it's just a really funny movie. And what's the next question? I've got them all here on my screen. Favorite romance. I went with Sleepless in Seattle. I don't have the box to show you, but I really like this movie. It's a sweet movie. I think it's the best out of the Tom Hanks Meg Ryan pairings, and it's got a rewatchability factor for me. It's just sweet, and it's funny, and it's got a really good soundtrack, and I just really like it. Favorite scary movie. This was easy for me. It is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. I love this movie. I saw it very young. Now, I was a sheltered child, and so we weren't even allowed to go to the movies until the late 80s, which I'll get into that later because there's a question that has to do with that. But for some reason, I saw this, and it was on TV, so it was cut. I mean, it wasn't like I saw the uncensored version, but I saw this movie very, very young on TV, and it scared the heck out of me. And I mean, it stayed with me all these years, and I've seen it many times now, but it's always been one of my favorites, and I just find the imagery in it very haunting. It's got that crazy good performance from Jack Nicholson, who just plays insane like no other, and it's really kind of claustrophobic. It's really just got three main characters, and so if you haven't seen The Shining, definitely see it. It's a little long. Some people think it's slow, and it is a little slow, but it's just it's a hypnotic, amazing movie. I just think everybody should see it. Let's see, favorite drama. I went with American Beauty. I really, really love this movie. It's also a comedy drama, but it is more drama, I think, than comedy. But there are definitely funny parts, but it's kind of a dark humor. So, but I really like it. It's got that dysfunctional family thing going, and several different themes, and there's some good performances from Kevin Spacey and Annette Bening. So it's a really, really good movie, and I highly recommend it. Let's see, favorite family film. Now this I had to think about for a while, and I know that the question is really probably referring to a movie where the whole family can watch it, and this movie isn't necessarily one that the whole family can watch. And so it kind of seems odd that I'm describing it as my favorite family movie, but I kind of took it to mean like family. This movie is about family, and so I'm not suggesting you go rent this for your young kids, but I chose Soul Food. Now this is an R-rated movie. Like I mentioned, I wouldn't just like go rent it and gather around the family and the young kids, but and it's almost a shame that it's got a little bit of adult language, adult themes, and brief violence, because if it weren't for those things, this would be an excellent family movie. It's really about a tight group, a tight-knit family, and their struggles, and it's kind of all based around the matriarch of the family. She's getting sick, or I think she's got diabetes, but and so she kind of holds the family together, but as she's ailing, they have to kind of come together and figure out a way to work through stuff without her there. So anyways, it's a very, very good movie. It's got Vanessa L. Williams, Vivica A. Fox, Nia Long, so really good film. And it really kind of shows that, I mean, yeah, it's dysfunctional family somewhat, but it's a very loving family, and I just think it's a really, really good movie. Best biopic. I went with Milk. This is about Harvey Milk, who was I think he was the first openly gay politician. So this is a really, really amazing movie. It's got an amazing performance from Sean Penn, who I do believe he won the Academy Award. I know he was nominated because it says 8 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture and Best Actor, and I do believe Sean Penn won the Best Actor award for this, and it's an incredible movie, and I think everybody should see it. It is set in the late 70s in San Francisco, and it's just a great film. So run out and get it. And again, it is rated R. You know, a lot of these, I'm not saying, I think most of these movies have been rated R. Yeah, every single one that I've talked about so far has been rated R, just so you know. So, favorite childhood movie. Oh, the first one that's not rated R. And it's The Wizard of Oz. This is an amazing movie. Everybody's seen it. Actually, I heard the Fruity Rach has not seen this, and I know the Fruity Rach. Girl, what are you thinking? Get The Wizard of Oz. Watch it. It's amazing. I've actually got the 3-disc collector's edition. I know Drew has the 2-disc. Drew, if you can get your hands on this, this is a great version. Now, I know every few years they come out with a new version, a new collector's edition. So I think my friend Richie says he has like a 5-disc one. So I can't imagine any more going into this than what's already in it, because it's got 3 discs of full stuffed full of extras. It's got really cool, what is this? I haven't even, look at this. So many like cool things in here. So anyways, okay. See, we'll be here all night if I start going through my DVDs. So, but anyways, it's my favorite childhood movie. I was obsessed with it growing up. Now, back when I was a kid, I say it like it was a long time ago. It was before DVDs. It was before, like when I was very young, almost before home video. So back then, you waited for it to come on TV, and it came on like once a year. So it was an event. It was an event when this movie came on. So I loved it and was obsessed with it. Let's see, the next question. Favorite action movie. Now this was hard because I don't love action movies in general. The blow 'em up movies, the shoot 'em ups and all that, I just can't get into. I need character. I need dialogue, or well written dialogue, hopefully. And I don't want to sound like a movie snob, and I know there are good action films and there is a place for every genre, but I just personally don't love it. Ron does, and we disagree. We can hardly ever agree on a movie to watch together. But so I had to think about this. So I went with Jurassic Park, who the Vintage Chic. She also went with Jurassic Park. Oh, here it is. Because it is suspenseful. It is, but it's action packed. But it's got a lot of. It's just an amazing movie. It's Steven Spielberg. Obviously, it's just well made and well acted, but tons of action, suspense, and so I had to choose it. I'm very tongue tied. I'm so sorry. I chose it as my favorite action movie. Man, sometimes. Okay, so my favorite classic movie. I don't have the DVD to show you, but I chose Rear Window, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. This is a wonderful suspense thriller starring James Stewart, and basically he's kind of trapped, and he's not trapped, but he's got a broken leg, so he's kind of holed up in his apartment trying to recuperate from his broken leg. And to pass the time, he looks out of his window. He lives like in an apartment that faces a courtyard in Greenwich Village, and he can see like all the other neighbors' apartments and their balconies and stuff. And so what he does is he just like looks out the window and kind of spies on the neighbors. And then he one night he accidentally sees something more than he bargained for, and kind of has to solve the mystery. So I don't want to tell too much about it for those who haven't seen it, but it's a great movie. I think it would be appropriate for, I think it's rated PG. Like, they didn't rate it back then, but they went back and rated it later. So I mean, it's pretty appropriate for all ages, and it's just a really good suspense movie from Alfred Hitchcock, and it happens to be my favorite Hitchcock. Favorite historical movie. Now, I could not think for the life of me of a historical movie that I loved or that was a favorite. And I really thought about this. Like, I knew that I would ramble on, so I went and like put my answers on the screen before I even started this video, because I knew if I had to start thinking of stuff, I wouldn't come up with it. So I couldn't. So I decided to just do favorite documentary movie, because there were no questions about documentaries, and I happen to love documentaries. So I don't like the ones like about nature and stuff, but like social documentaries, like about people. So I chose, so basically this isn't the answer to the historical movie. I just couldn't think of one, so I changed it, made it my own favorite documentary. Grey Gardens. Now, this is a very strange documentary. If you haven't seen it, it's kind of a cult classic, and it's definitely not for everyone. I don't suggest everybody go rent it right now, because a lot of you would not like it, but I do think that if it sounds interesting to you, then I would definitely check into it, read up a little bit about it, and then if it sounds like something you would like, then rent it. But this is one of the quirkier titles in the video. So, Grey Gardens. It's about a mother and daughter who were once rich socialites, and they live in East Hampton, and in this crumbling mansion. Right here, you can see it. They lost their money and their fortune, and they're just living in this rich neighborhood in filth, basically. They have like 1 million cats, and all they do is they don't really leave their home. They just sit in their house and bicker constantly. And it sounds depressing, but it's really, I mean, there's some hilarious moments in it. And actually, especially the younger daughter, little Edie, becomes kind of this heroic, kind of larger than life character, and I happen to love her. I mean, she's dead now, but because this movie came out in 1976, but she kind of became this gay icon in a way. I mean, she's not gay. Anyways, it's so hard to explain. If this sounds like anything remotely interesting to you, look it up. Grey Gardens. It's a very, very strange movie. They actually made a HBO movie based on them making the documentary a few years ago. I think it starred Jessica Lange and Drew Barrymore, and it's actually a pretty good movie. But this is the original documentary, and it's amazing. There. Okay, favorite girly movie. I went with Still Magnolias because it is very, very girly. It's got almost an all-female cast. I mean, the men that are in it are pretty they don't even need to be in the movie to make it. It's really a woman's movie, a ladies' movie. So it's pretty girly, and but very funny, and I just like the banter and dynamic among all the ladies in the movie. So it's a really good movie. Best guilty pleasure movie, I went with Mrs. Doubtfire. I know it's no like amazing movie. It's not really a classic. I mean, I guess it could be kind of considered a classic, a modern classic, but I just think it's really, really funny. And every time it comes on TV a lot, and I'll be flipping through the channels, and every time it's on and I come across it, I end up watching most of it. So I really love it. It's hilarious. So Robin Williams is just hilarious in it. Favorite tearjerker. I almost went with Still Magnolias again, but then I was like, that's just getting a little Still Magnolia heavy in this thread. It would be the third time I mentioned it. And it's really not even my favorite movie. It's just, I like it a lot, but it just tends to fit some of these answers, some of the questions. But so I went with The Color Purple. I always cry. I mean, I've only seen it a handful of times, but I always cry at the end of it. Always. Favorite musical? I went with Rent. I don't love musicals in general. So this is one of those that I actually do like. I saw the Broadway show before it closed a few years ago, and I really like the movie. It's not a masterpiece by any means. I mean, the musical is. I would say the Broadway show is would be considered a masterpiece of Broadway shows. I don't know. But anyways, the movie's not a masterpiece, but it's a fun and heartfelt adaptation of the show. And it's got some really great pop rock music, and I just really like it. And then favorite Halloween movie. Now it's not based around Halloween, but I always make it a point to watch Carrie at Halloween time. It's just kind of a tradition. It's one of my favorite scary movies, starring Sissy Spacek, and it says John Travolta, but he's only in it for like 10-15 minutes maybe. It's really Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, Amy Irving. Those are the main actors in the movie, and it's just a really good, for those, I love scary movies, but I don't like a whole lot of blood and guts and gore, and so this is really good for that. I mean, it's not too over the top bloody, even though the cover shows her covered from head to toe in blood. It's not too horrible on the gore scale, but it's just a really good psychological kind of supernatural horror movie. So I really like it. It's all-time classic. Favorite holiday movie. I don't have either of them to show you, but it's a tie. I chose Miracle on 34th Street, the original 1947 version, starring Maureen O'Hara, and what's the little girl? Oh gosh, I can't think of the little girl's name. Natalie Wood. That was going to drive me crazy. Anyways, that's the version that I prefer. There are several versions of Miracle on 34th Street, but that's the only one that matters, and it's awesome. And then, of course, A Christmas Story. I love it. It's just a tradition. It's just a very cute slice of life, very funny movie, and so I really like it. And then, favorite wedding movie. At first, I was like, a wedding movie? And then I was like, well, I don't know that I have one. And then I remembered this gem. It's Rachel Getting Married. Now, this is a really awesome movie. It's another one of those kind of slice of life movies based around a girl's wedding, and her kind of troubled sister has just gotten out of rehab, and she comes to the wedding. It's kind of the wedding weekend, I guess, and just the family dynamic of everything that's going on. It's really kind of reminiscent of a Robert Altman type movie. Like I mentioned earlier, it's got lots of different characters and kind of just flows like real life flows. The dialogue is kind of like real people talk. So it's just a really wonderful movie. But some people might find it slow, but it is very good. And Anne Hathaway, who I never paid attention to before this movie, turns in a really, really nice performance. It really actually made me like Anne Hathaway, because before I just thought of her as that Princess Diaries girl. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, she can act. So I liked it. Favorite 80s movie. Now this, we're almost done, by the way, and I'm sure if anybody's still with me, you're so happy you've almost made it. Favorite 80s movie. I really had to think about this because I couldn't think of one. I mean, there are movies that I liked in the 80s, but I couldn't think of a favorite. And then I thought of Gremlins. I was like, Gremlins. I loved Gremlins in the 80s. So I went with that. I don't know. There may be another one that I like better than that, but I couldn't think of it. So I went with Gremlins. It's just a funny kind of horror comedy, but it's more funny to me than scary. But yeah, I liked it. And then favorite Disney princess movie. I don't watch a whole lot of Disney princess movies, but I went with Beauty and the Beast because I don't know. I couldn't think of any others. And I actually liked Beauty and the Beast, but and I don't think she was a princess in that, but hopefully that counts. Then, the favorite Disney movie, and I went with The Parent Trap. Now, not the 1998 Lindsay Lohan version. This is the 1961 Haley Mills version of The Parent Trap, and it is awesome. If you haven't seen it, it blows the 1998 version out of the water, in my opinion. It's just a really, really fun movie, and it's got enough like drama and like comedy for like adults to keep them interested too. It's not just like a really kiddie type movie, so I really suggest now this one really is one that the whole family can watch. And then movie you've watched the most. I went again with The Wizard of Oz because I just think that I've probably seen it probably more than any other movie. So just a classic, and you can't see it too many times, in my opinion. Movie you've never seen despite the hype. Now that could be a whole bunch. I often don't see a lot of the big blockbuster movies that everybody's waiting for. I just don't rush out to see them. So it could be any number of movies, but I went with Avatar as they did in the other two videos I've watched on this already. And I'm not opposed to it. Like, I would probably maybe even enjoy it, but I just haven't seen it. So, and I've heard so much about it, so I went with that one too. And then movie you relate to the most. I had to think about this a little bit, but I went with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It just really reminds me of home and family, and I'm gonna get choked up, but yeah. And then what is the first movie you remember seeing at the movie theater? The first movie I saw at the movie theater was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The year 1988. I was 12 years old, and I remember it very vividly because we weren't allowed to go to the movies. So this was huge. This was a huge deal. I don't know why, but my parents for a long time thought that going to the movies was a sin somehow. And I'm not like judging anybody's religious beliefs. Maybe some of you don't believe in going to the movies, but if you don't, you probably have already turned off my video. But anyways, I digress. We couldn't go to the movies. We could rent them and watch them at home, but for some reason we couldn't go to the theater to watch it, which I didn't understand then, and I don't understand now. And now my mom goes to movies, and my family goes to movies now, but I don't know what the deal was back then. But 1988 was the year they finally said, you know what, you can go to the movies. And so I went and saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I just remember the excitement of, I was like, wow, I'm actually in a movie theater. It's something I've only seen in the movies. So it was kind of one of those moments that I remember for all my life, I think. Favorite movie of all time, and I went with, I had to really I didn't really have to think about it too much because I know that it's my favorite movie. It's Rosemary's Baby, directed by Roman Polanski. This is really actually an amazing movie. It didn't start out as my favorite movie. It's become my favorite movie probably over the last 10 years. I saw it a long, long time ago when I was younger, and I think it was really boring to me back then. But as I've watched it as an adult, I just find the suspense and the acting and the dialogue and just everything about it, the setting, everything about it is just awesome, and I could watch it over and over, and I do. Like, I watch it probably once a year. And I don't know what it is about it exactly, but I love it. It's got Mia Farrow, John Cassavetes, and the amazing Ruth Gordon, who won an Academy Award for her performance. And it's just a great movie. I suggest if you haven't seen it, watch it. So, folks, that is my video. I'm sick of hearing myself talk. I'm so glad it's over. and I hope you all survived it. And I'd love to see anybody else do this tag because it's a lot of fun. It really makes you think. You have to think about your answers, and or at least I did. I tag anybody who wants to do it, but I especially tag Casper Famous. I really want to see his take on the movie tag. So thanks for watching, guys, and hope to see your video too. Bye.